Hey, welcome to You Ask 502, the podcast where we get up close and personal with the plumbers, pipe fitters, and service techs of Local 502. I'm Ryan Kleber. Joining me is my co-host, Eric Elzy.
You Ask 502 is your go-to source for stories, skills, and the daily lives of our hardworking people in this local. We're just getting started, and we're excited to see where this takes us.
The echo cancellation's on. So, welcome to You Ask 502. I am here with Nick Brown, coordinator for the training center. Good friend of mine. Nick, what's going on, Bubba?
Oh, not much. Getting in this summer break.
All right. So school was pretty intense this year, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we finished up our spring semester right there at Derby time, and just trying to wrap up all the end of year stuff, apprenticeship contest stuff, and yeah, it's been pretty busy here lately. I'm sure everybody knows that.
That's true. Yeah, working on a new school, we got a lot of good stuff going on. So, a lot of people ask about the boot camp and really what all that entails and how that's working out. Do you have any insight onto the boot camp?
Yeah. So let's back up and we can talk. I guess kind of how we got there, how we wound up at the boot camp.
The inception. Let's do it.
And we can talk about how it's changed, from when we first started it. We are getting ready to start our fourth boot camp over 3 years, over 3 years of growth, I would say. So I guess back in 2020, what was that 2022? We started taking in larger apprenticeship classes. Actually, 2021, we took in a pretty sizable class as well. But after talking with the contractors and whatnot, they saw this large growth coming, as a lot of the country did as well with some of the mega projects and whatnot. So we had to figure out what we were going to do, with all of these added apprentices. Our traditional training model of 2 nights a week, Monday, Wednesdays, or Tuesday, Thursdays, like most of our members are familiar with. That wasn't going to work. We were going to max out. We were already kind of getting, large capacity, class sizes and whatnot.
Right.
So we came up with the idea of doing a hybrid training model, as Rhino was involved in that as a trustee. And we took the first years as they were coming in and we put them on a day training model. In March of 2023, we started our very first boot camp, and a lot of the apprentices that we took in at that time just so happened to be not working for the contractors, or maybe just barely newly working for the contractors. There weren't a whole lot of pre-apprentices. So it worked out to where we were able to do a 7-week consolidated training where they came right in. We did 7 40-hour weeks. We did pay them a stipend, which I'm sure a lot of people know about that. And we can talk about that later, or however you want to talk about it. But it worked out really good. We manned it with retirees and the staff at the training center, which was myself and Jeremy Kleber at the time. Mm-hmm. And we taught as many classes as we could during the day, and the retirees, helped, and everybody pitched in, and it worked out really well. Out of that boot camp, it was surprising, especially what we saw in the weld shop in particular, the consolidated training, having the apprentice down there for, 7 straight weeks, which they didn't get 7 straight weeks of welding. Right. They got some basic, pipe fitting skills and other, related skills too. About half of that time was welding, though, and many of them were right at, getting ready to test for their UA21. Yeah. That's the stick welding certification.
Well, I think that's undeniable. It's just that amount of training up front in anything, whether it's jiu-jitsu, welding, right. Anything, you're going to be better because it's, it's more compact. It's just the whole cost and losing the apprentice for, said number of weeks. Yeah.
And that was that's been a big learning curve, I think, for everybody. Mm-hmm. We learned after the first boot camp, when we decided we were going to do it again with another group of apprentices in late 2023, that we were going to need to stagger those weeks out a little more. That 7 weeks worked really good for that batch of apprentices, but it was really hard on the limited amount of instructors that we had to work during the day. And then, also on the contractor as well, right. Losing that apprentice for that amount of time, so what we did on the second boot camp is we spaced it out. We tried to do it over the slower months, so I think we started it in October, if I remember correctly, and we ended it some point in the winter
Derby,
time.
right?
Yeah, I think it went to March, maybe.
Went to March,
yeah, or maybe it was April.
I think it was right March, up, yeah. But it was good. I mean, it's like you said, just 40 hours straight welding, especially for the welders.
Totally. And we had the same results after that second boot camp, to kind of carry the story along. Except this time, what I did notice, I felt like in the plumbing shop, generally speaking, in the second year of the apprenticeship, our plumbers will get to do a lot more of the hands-on applicable plumbing work. We do the plumbing module class where they're actually, digging for underground. They're installing in-wall rough-in in various different applications. And we noticed that the first years were getting to that material towards the end of the boot camp, which was just, they were moving through the material that we had, generally had laid out for the 5-year apprenticeship program. They were moving through it faster, and that carried over into the third and hopefully into this fourth boot camp coming up. So we do hope, even though, speaking from the training center side, we do hope that, to the members and the contractors out there that are listening to this, we know it's a scheduling, issue and a hassle to lose apprentices off the job. It is difficult, but we do hope that in return for that,
getting a better apprentice.
Yeah, you're going to get a better apprentice. So hopefully you're seeing that. Hopefully that's something that we can continue to grow and get better. I do think every successive boot camp that we've done, like I said, we've done 3 so far. I feel like we've gotten better each time. And that's to be said with anything, right?
Right. Trial and error, trials and tribulations, all the things. So, but you learn and you adapt and you go, and I think it's great. So, it's doing well. Cost wise, what are we talking about as far as, expense? Or something like that?
So the big expense right now, the way we do it is the stipend. That is the big, and we were talking about that a little bit earlier. Right. So, rewinding the clock just a little bit, going back to this 2022 time frame when we were trying to figure out what to do with all of these this big influx of apprentices. We decided we were going to do this hybrid model. First year's going to day school, or the boot camp as we call it. The topic came up of what, how do you pay that apprentice? They're taking time out of their day to be there, and they are, and they are losing, quote unquote, losing out on money and whatnot. And I totally agree with that. And I think everybody at the table that was there to make those decisions, I think they all kind of felt the same way. We wanted to take care of the apprentice the best way that we could. So what we came up with was a stipend. The apprentices receive a stipend, $100 per day that they attend the day school. It's not a partial thing. They have to be there for the stipend. We have a pretty rigid guideline on when they have to be there and tardiness and all that stuff. So, so we're pretty, we try to regulate that. We try not to be frivolous with it because we know it's a big cost, and that's a big cost to our members because that's who's ultimately paying for this.
Yeah. So we've been in talks. Well, I guess originally too was like, hey, kind of like when Ford shuts down, they can draw unemployment for that week, without having to go through the hassle of some big claim and a wait week, and then Ford supplements the rest. That's something that has been proposed here. I don't know where it went or if we could kind of pick up, try to get some traction on that too, because that'd be ideal. Then, because then they could get their benefits as well.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with that is we're like, well, they're young. Majority still live at home with mom and dad. So the insurance isn't that big a deal because they're still on their parents' insurance till 26. So now would be the time where you could kind of skate around that a little bit.
I will say too, to the insurance point, because that was a big topic of conversation.
Yep.
How can these apprentices maintain their health insurance while they're attending this day school? So we strategically planned the weeks of the day school to straddle or be spread across 2, if not 3 quarters. So that way your work hours that you have to maintain to keep health insurance, they're less affected. I can say that there was a very small number that were affected by those hours, and those were all handled accordingly and taken care of
within the health and welfare fund.
Yeah,
they were able to absorb and cover.
Yeah, it was. I think there was like 2 apprentices, to my knowledge, over 3 boot camps. So it's been a very small number that has affected.
Right.
But like you said, though, the cost, kind of getting back to the cost of it. Yes, the stipend is the big portion of that cost. $500 a day. Or I'm sorry, $100 a day.
Right. Sign me up.
$100 a day, $500 a week.
Right.
For now, the boot camp is 5 weeks because we supplement summertime training.
Right.
So they do evenings in the summertime now, the first years do. And then they come to 5 weeks total of boot camp.
Which is nice. And we're getting better each year, and by the time we finally get it dialed in, the school we built, and then
yeah.
But
some of the other costs associated with the day school model, the boot camp. Right now, we're fortunate to have retirees. The retirees have certainly stepped up, and this would have been impossible without our retirees. So a shout out to any retiree that's listening that has helped us with the boot camp.
Much respect. And it kind of falls back on the meeting last week when what we decided to do to help the retirees and assist in their insurance. Like, totally. these men and women really help pave the way for us to be able to sit here and talk about it. So,
totally.
It's the least we can do in a lot of areas.
Yeah. So the retirees helped us instruct, which was good.
Yeah.
They weren't full-time employees. So that really helped. A lot of training centers, like other UA locals that do, like full day school programs, they have full-time instructors that require benefits and whatnot. So we saved a little bit there. But then, of course, the added cost of just, different consumables and whatnot. Like we said, we're getting through material faster. So the projects, they're doing more projects, more hands-on stuff. So school supplies did go up a little bit, but nothing crazy. It wasn't like a vast amount. But again, hopefully for the return of a better apprentice.
I guess in a vacuum it goes up, but over the aggregate, it's the same. It's just not spread over the year. It's just kind of getting hit,
up front. Yeah.
A couple quarters as opposed to, Good. School's going great, man. You guys are really killing it. Jeremy, Mike, great team over there, Alyssa, Terry. So y'all do a great job. So
thank you, sir.
Appreciate you. What else is going on?
You want to talk about the new school, Lenny?
We can talk about the new school.
So we just got done with a meeting actually right before this podcast. So
went well.
Yep, went well. We've got a pricing package together from our engineering.
Yep. We're going to take it to some GCs and get the magic numbers, which is going to be probably some sticker shock. We'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what those numbers are, and cut accordingly, and try to get it within our budget, and report to the membership, of course, of everything that's going on. But I do think that the school, for anyone that hasn't heard about it or heard much detail about it, we hope that it's going to be something that we can be proud of for decades to come.
Generations.
Generations. Yeah. We all, for all of us that attended classes at Miller's Lane,
mm-hmm.
I've got a strong sentiment towards Miller's Lane, as I'm sure you do too, Rhino, and anybody else that's attended down there. I mean, it's maybe not in the best area of town or our most favorite area that we like to go and hang out, but we do have some strong attachment there to that place.
It's our area.
It is.
And it has been for, a century.
It is. And since 1950s, something, if I'm not mistaken, or 40s, is when 522, I think.
And when I was a third year is when they started building the 2 new buildings that a lot of people take for granted now. So, I was just had the old building, just the plumbing shop, and that's where the welding shop was.
Well,
so we merged too, but still.
This spirit, this attachment to Miller's Lane, we hope that this new place will be a place that we can all be very proud of, and that this generation and generations going forward will hold this place in their heart, like our generation and the generations before us held Miller's Lane. We hope it's a hub of training for the piping industry, in 250 or 500 mile radius. We really do hope it's something that we can be proud of, and we can turn out the highest quality plumbers, pipe fitters, HVAC technicians that we possibly can.
Well, I have no doubt it's going to be. And as a bonus, we actually get a meeting hall big enough to accommodate
a meeting,
more than 100 people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why when it comes to meetings, I'm like, well, unless you want to stand up for 2 hours, you're kind of limited. So, but yeah, it's rolling. Like I said, Nick said, we got the pricing package. We're going to start shopping it. The meetings are going to start being very informative when it comes to stuff like that, where we're at, the steps. We're going to be breaking ground soon. We'll be out there with our ties and a shovel, getting picks. So it's going to be,
I don't own a tie, so I have to figure that out.
You got that bolo, right?
Yeah.
Those of you that don't know, Nick does concrete now. If you look at his bars, they are beautiful.
We're going to edit this one.
Right.
I'm not a concrete man.
So
I'll tell you what, that's
big party coming.
Oh yeah. That's no work I wish on anybody. What a terrible trade.
No, you did good though. Looks good. Looks really good. It's impressive. So
thank you.
Heck yeah. So how's the fam? Everybody good?
Everybody's good, man.
Good.
Yeah.
Still running?
Yeah. I'm not training for races. I'm still running. I'm getting out probably 3 to 4 days a week, anywhere from 3 to, like, I did 7 miles yesterday.
Nice.
So I'm still trying to keep my legs and lungs in it, but I've been so consumed with work and this bar now. I was trying to get, my home projects done, and
it's a lot.
The kids, dude, now they're getting older.
Yeah.
Stella, we taught her how to ride a bike yesterday.
Nice.
No training wheels.
Okay.
Which was awesome. Yeah. My 5-year-old. So yeah, it's badass, man.
She gave the look of disappointment when you let go the first time.
No, dude. What the fuck? No, I had the towel around her. I don't know if you've ever seen that trick where they put the towel around their underneath of them, like you wrap them up and you just kind of hold them up from behind. And we've had her on a little electric dirt bike at home, and she just kind of messed around on that a little bit. Well, man, I took her out yesterday, took the training wheels off, put the towel around her chest, and was holding it up from the back. And we get to running around, take it to a basketball court because it's nice and flat and stuff. And we get to riding around, man. And we do one loop, and I'm holding tension on her so she feels that I'm with her. And then that second loop, I literally dropped the towel, and she's over here talking about how scared she is. I'm like, look, I don't even have the towel anymore.
Nice.
And that was it. Immediately, she took one loop around, and then that second loop. And once she realized she didn't have the towel on her anymore,
just a confidence thing.
Yeah. So it was really cool, man. And Trinity had him out riding today, actually.
Okay.
Took him to the park. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. So yeah, how about over here? What's going on over here?
All the things. Two guys are, in the twilight of their careers. Eric's, about to move on to another position. So it's, rolling. So it's going to be the last one standing. So
how's the girls downstairs doing? I know we got a new girl downstairs.
Good. Carly's doing good. She's blending in well. Lisa's been here since I've been here, like longer actually. So she does great. Amy's a great, addition. So it's good. Most people know by now that Patty and Diana, we're gone. So now we have Cindy and Joe,
which I have heard nothing but good things about. By the way, yeah,
same. They both kill it. Things.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the guys like talking to Joe because he's like he's a bro, so he's cool. Got the dip in the hat backwards. He's like, "What up?" I got you, and he does. And then Cindy's super sweet. She does a great job, so it's good. It's a good team down there. So I think everyone's happy and
awesome.
Big election coming up in September. So, Eric, like I said, is going to be going to the Kentucky Pipe Trades to be their political liaison, which, is an important position, which they established. This is kind of where this came from. The inception is that the Indiana Pipe Trades has a guy, Derek Davis, that does this and does a good job. And even though that's a red state, it's not about getting in there and really pushing agendas as it is to getting in and blocking bills. So you make friends and you get in and like as bills come on the floor, actually try to stop them before they come on the floor, before they're even in the inception. And just listen, this is really hurting our members in this area. This is hurting people here, not just our members. It can't just be about us. It's got to be about everyone, every working person. So it works. Yeah. I mean, Indiana's stupid amount of work, and Indy, the 440 has grown tremendously. 136, like I said, even being in a hard red state, they do all the exclusive city work just due to, the type of regulations, the drug test requirements, kind of like we do. Our plumbing license is deeper. So, a lot of non-union, open shops can't really compete with that because they don't have the money to train and get everyone up to speed where, we do because we pull our resources. Yeah. So it's good. It's a good position, and, Andy, there's a chance that he'll be running for president soon. And, we have a relationship with him. So, that's always nice if, if he makes it, or even if
potentially,
yeah. So
if he makes it into a cabinet or something.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's good. Things are good. So it's rolling well. I was going to say something else. I forgot.
Have y'all been talking about designing of the new union hall at all? Have y'all had any more conversation about that, or what we're going to do?
I've seen Scott's drawing, and it's cocktail napkin at its finest. But I mean, it's not. It's got a gym, which you had me at hello. It's got we're going to do the wellness center there, and then incorporate our offices in there too. So it's nice. I don't think it's going to be anything as grand as the school, because that is as of right now, that's the focal point. That's what you're going to see pulling in, and we're going to be in the back. But it's still going to be, a very nice spot. Now, the last time I talked to Mercy, because they own, let's see here if the camera will pick this up. If this is the property that we bought, this is where the union hall is going to be. And Mercy owns this spot. So they've talked to us right
over here.
Yeah. So they've talked about swapping out, so we have both spots, which is ideal. So we'll literally be butting up to Mercy Academy. Which I don't know if that's good for some of our apprentices or not, to be that close to an all-girls school. But put up a big fence and cattle prod. I don't know.
Armed security guard or something.
Right. So it's good. It's good. But back to the election. So
when's nominations? August.
It's going to be August. It's the Wednesday. It's a month before. So hold on.
It's
so September 5th or 6th is going to be the election. Let me check it out here.
August 5th be the first Tuesday of the month before, right?
So August 5th, and then September 5th and 6th is going to be the election. Just like normal for everyone who's done it before. It's going to be from 2 to 7 on that Friday.
And can we talk about some? Maybe.
Okay,
let's talk about this topic.
All right.
School coordinator here. Election time. Miller's Lane. Everybody knows Miller's Lane. We just talked about how great Miller's Lane was. I'll be honest on the topic. I'm pretty sensitive about
campaigning on school grounds. So I thought my election, 2017, that was kind of thoroughly vetted, and no one was allowed now. And really, there hasn't been a big election since then, because it's just kind of been, mostly unopposed. So this will be the first one where there's going to be a lot of different names and a lot of people who want to, get out there and talk. So so go ahead.
It's a new, open spot at the Union Hall, and just brothers, sisters, anybody listening to this, be careful. Now the 4th and 5th year apprentices can vote, and we all know that. That happened last 2 conventions ago.
Yes,
2 conventions ago, so 9 years ago.
16.
Now. So the 4th and 5th years have a voice and a vote, and that's great. However, it does, it opens up a can of worms here about, politics in school. So, anybody that's thinking about running and doing some heavy campaigning, just know that there are strict rules about campaigning on school grounds, in particular during school times, while school's in session, so on and so forth. I'm sure that when nominations meeting comes out,
or inside the Union Hall,
that's right.
Anywhere you're doing business, you can't hand out pins, any kind of pamphlets,
stickers,
paraphernalia. I don't know if it's called paraphernalia, but I mean that too though, and stuff like that.
But just in general, just be careful. There's rules to the election, and they're like that for a reason. And the school, on a personal standpoint is, it's a place, for training. That's what it's there for. That's what it's funded for. That's what you guys and girls as members, that's why you all fund it. You fund it for training, not for, for politicking, So we do. The Union Hall actually rents Miller's Lane from the Education and Training Fund.
Long story.
To be able to host the elections there. So technically, even the times that we're voting and campaigning on Miller's Lane, those 2 days, 2 election days, the Union Hall is actually renting that property for that time from the training fund. And that is because the training fund, it's a trust fund, and the trustees on that trust fund, some of them may or may not be running and campaigning, during that time. So, it's very strict, no campaigning on school property.
So the
Union Hall. Yeah.
2 years. So like I said, so this September,
Yeah.
Eric's position, but it's also the delegates to go to San Diego for the UA convention.
Yeah.
So, and that most people know, every 5 years the UA has a convention, and that is their one.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah, one shining moment where that's where you actually get to amend the UA Constitution, and so 25, 26 people can go. 27?
Yeah, it's
one per 100.
1 per 100. Yep, that's based on the UA Constitution, which is on our mobile app. If you didn't know, we get to elect those members. So we'll be having an election for that in September, like Lionel said. If you've never gotten to go, I got to go last time. 4 years ago. That was my first time. It's a week-long union meeting.
40 hours.
Riveting. It's awesome. It is so much fun.
It really is pretty wild.
Yeah, a lot of
the theatrics are insane.
Yeah, a lot of parliamentary procedure, and but it is very neat. If you're into that kind of thing, it is a very cool experience to see how changes are made and affected at a national or international level. Really, United States and Canada.
Which they'll come, like my time last time was my first time. The last time was my first time as well, and Canada couldn't come because of stuff. So
the C word,
COVID. So they were, I guess, simulcast in, and it was probably not the same.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's that guy's name? Russ
Saint
Bernard,
Saint Aloy.
Saint Aloy. Yeah.
Oh, he had something to say about everything. Yeah. Every motion, he had something he wanted to say about it. And
I feel like Canada was booing, and we were just like, "Yeah, Russ." So it was pretty funny.
Yeah. So for those that aspire to run for that have never run for a convention, it's a great time. It's going to be in San Diego, California this year or next year. It's in August of 2026.
Yes.
If you're into union politics and bylaws and the Constitution and how all that works, run for it. There'll be an opportunity there. So, and to recap, is it a member in good standing for 2 years to run for that?
2 years, 1 year to nominate, 2 years to run for any kind of position.
That's right. So
yep.
Journeyman, got to be a journeyman to go. I don't think apprentices. That's a good question, though. We might have to ask that now that they have a voice in a vote.
I think they do. I think you do have to be a journeyman, because I remember one of the, I don't know if it's provision is the right word for it, but one of the clauses I guess they wanted to have amended was that the recording secretary could be any member that can vote, meaning it'd be a fourth or fifth year, because there were a bunch of locals who were having trouble getting recording secretaries.
Yeah,
because,
I do recall that. So, okay. So yeah.
I'd say that got voted down, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think, overwhelmingly. So,
yeah. Good time though. That's
so there's,
good opportunity.
So there'd be, I'd say 27 people get to go. Your 4 full-time officers automatically get to go. I didn't make that rule.
It's in the bylaws.
I am taking advantage of it.
It's in Local 502's bylaws.
Right. And so what's that leave? 23 spots?
Yeah.
So I'd say 60 people will run for those 23 spots.
Maybe, yeah.
Which would be, fun. So this election will be good is what I'm saying. There's going to be a lot of people. And then, of course, Eric's spot.
If I remember correctly, last convention, there were 50 nominees and 25 spots, if I'm not mistaken, 25 total spots. So that was, 21 would have gotten to go because the 4 agents and manager. Yeah.
So I've ran for it twice. Of course, last time I got to go because I was an agent. The time before I lost by 1 vote. Sweet Lynn Vals, if you're out there, I'll never forget you, sir. You got me.
Did he get there late?
I had people who did get there late, but regardless, it's all good. It wasn't my time.
It happened.
And I'm glad Lynn got to go. So,
good.
Yeah, man. It's good.
Good deal.
Hell yeah. Anything else?
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff we could probably talk about.
I mean, we start talking about UFOs. There's the fireballs in Georgia. We can go deep.
I haven't seen a fireball in Georgia. What's that? What's going on there?
You might want to look that up first.
I might have to.
Pretty wild. So, all right. Well, hey, always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nick, for coming on, man. Hopefully first of many. We'll start doing like a Protect Our Parks type,
Let's do it. Can we get some shots?
Once we get settled in, we'll turn it up a notch.
So. We need to do some late night podcasts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. After August 1st.
Yeah, there you go.
Get my test.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, y'all.
See you.